So with that said, I'm going to bring on Kashi, the CEO of, there he is, Mr. Kashi. How are you?
Wonderful. So great to be here. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. So this is, by the way, people, if I mess up, so I'm technologically adept, but then I don't run the show. As you guys know, Chris runs pushes the buttons in the background. If I mess up, I apologize in advance, but I'm hoping that at least Tomer's session does not get messed up. So Tomer, you're the CEO of Voom, Voom Insurance. And I think you're either 12th or 13th CEO I'm interviewing. So thank you for joining us.
Yeah, my pleasure to be here. And I'm watching the channel, from time to time, and I'm very glad, for the amazing work that you're doing to educate the rideshare industry. I think it's very important, and for me, it's an honor to be a part of the show.
Thank you, much appreciated. So you go ahead and introduce yourself and also the company, Voom.
Wonderful. So, personally, by background, I'm Tomer Kashi. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Voom. I'm a computer scientist and physicist geek that studied for my bachelor degree at the age of 15. That somehow became an insurance geek over time. Voom is an insurance technology company, meaning we're tech guys, but we're very hardcore insurance guys as well. And we're providing smart insurance solutions for what we call the future of mobility. We have several products in the market that I will talk about, and one of them that I'm personally most excited about, and it's also like the newest product of all, is a product for rideshare drivers that I'm gonna elaborate on today. Just really at a high level, so Voom is VC backed. We raised more than $22 million so far. We issued more than 100,000 policies, and that's about us really at a high level. Sergio, you're on mute. I can speak to myself, and I think
no. Yeah, I said you're kind of an Elon Musk. You had your degree at 15 years old. I'm going like, wow, we're at the presence of genius, people. I mean, seriously. But besides that, I think these types of shows I love doing because information is power. Okay. And unfortunately, according to Uber, there's 7.5 million people on just Uber's platform driving. Okay. Let it be deliveries, let it be rideshare, but mostly rideshare, obviously. And unfortunately, Uber and Lyft both do not educate the driver enough to make them understand the risks of rideshare driving without proper insurance. I mean, it's a given. And so, as you know, we have 4 periods during a rideshare trip, period, or rideshare driver's day, let's say. Period 0, where the app is off, they're driving around their kids to soccer practice or whatever. Period 1, the app is on, we're waiting for trips. Period 2, we accepted the offer, we're on our way to pick up the rider. And period 3, we have a rider in the back seat, we're going to our destination. So with that said, I know what your product is, but what I'm going to do is I want you to explain what you offer in each period. Right. And by the way, people, you should all know there is a $2,500 deductible. And I don't think too many rideshare drivers are carrying $2,500 in their pocket in case there is a fender bender. But Voom takes care of all of this. So with that said, let's go through period 0, 1, 2, 3. If you want me to put the slides up or whichever one you want, I'll just go with that as well.
Yeah, you know what? So let's put the slide up. So if you can go back, let's start. We'll go down.
Okay, you didn't want the second one. This is the first one. Here we go.
Yeah. Okay. So you can skip these two.
Skip this one. Okay.
And wonderful. So just as I mentioned, so Voom is an insure tech company. We already have several products in the market. Actually, some of them for other gigs as well. So, for example, we're the largest drone insurance provider. So many like gig workers are doing drones are going to Voom. We do motorcycle insurance, and now we recently a year ago launched this Rideshare product, and we have like a lot of learnings from one product to another. And I think that the challenge that these millions of rideshare drivers are facing is very clear. If you jump to the next slide, if you may. So if I'm a standard driver, okay, I'm usually buying my own personal insurance policy from the Progressive, Geico's, Allstate, State Farm of the world. Okay, now assuming I'm a rideshare driver, then I'm coming to these companies saying, okay, I'm doing rideshare. What they're gonna do is, okay, buy a rideshare endorsement, just increase your premium in 25-30%. Okay, our claim is that actually in many cases you should pay less, not more. Okay, because these companies, they know nothing about you, so they rate you like the other driver that is commuting 2 hours a day to work and having long trips over the weekend and so on and so forth. But you're a rideshare driver. In many cases, as soon as you're out of your home, you're with the app open, what's called period one, and other times you're already doing rideshare. Okay, so your personal mileage in many cases is actually much lower than many other drivers. And later on, when you're on period 1 or period 2 and 3, like you said, you're already covered by your Uber and Lyft. So if most of your mileage is already covered, why should you pay as if you were driving 2 hours to work every day? So in essence, Voom today is the only insurance that is tailored for rideshare drivers, meaning we know how much of what's called exposure, how many miles you really are driving for personal use, and you're paying only for that. Okay, so if your car is being used mainly for rideshare, then your actual personal mileage is much lower, and you should pay less for your insurance.
Okay, so it's like almost like a pay-as-you-go kind of a situation.
Yes, so you don't necessarily pay a few cents per mile, and we change your rate according to the exact mileage that you did. We try to simplify that, but in the grand scheme of things, you estimate the amount of personal miles that you are going to drive on your car.
Okay,
and based on that, you're paying only for what you really need. Okay, so just a few months ago, I took a ride with in Texas, and the driver had a brand new Tesla, and they asked, okay, that's really great. How come you have such a brand new Tesla for doing rideshare? So he said, the number one expense they have is electricity, is gas, and they have free electricity in my lodging. I said, okay, wonderful. So what's the number two expense you have? He said, insurance. This guy was paying more than $3,000 a year for insurance for a car that he's using only for Uber. Okay, so think about it. He's paying $3,000, and the actual risk for the insurance company that covered him is practically almost nothing. Obviously, it's covered while it's in the garage, but besides that, they only cover them when he goes to wash his car, and that's it.
Wow.
So obviously, this driver should pay much less. Okay.
Okay.
These are that you're targeting.
Yeah, I mean, I'm saving some questions, so we'll save some time for the favorite questions. So if you do have questions, audience, please, shoot it, and then I'm looking at the chat, and then we'll ask Tomer about specific situations. So before the show started in the green room, we were chatting. You said you also provide regular period zero insurance as well, correct?
Yes. So in essence, the Voom insurance policy replaces, we come instead of the personal auto insurance that everybody has. Okay.
Okay.
And in many cases, it's actually cheaper because we know that in many cases, most of your mileage is already covered by Uber and Lyft by law.
Yeah.
I will get in a second to how we know and how we rate the driver, like how it works. But that's in the grand scheme of things. And another layer of that is that on period 2 and 3, where Uber and Lyft are required, and other rideshare companies as well, are required to cover you, they have a pretty high deductible.
Yep.
So they have a $2,500 deductible on your comprehensive and collision coverage. Meaning, you're in an accident and then you have to pay out of pocket a huge amount of money that in many cases can get you, out of work until you able to fix your car. We cover that gap. Okay, so if you have like comprehensive or collision coverage with Voom, let's say with $500, and then you have an accident with Uber or Lyft, will cover the gap between the $2,500 deductible to the $500. So in many cases, we managed to create this like magic solution of getting something better for cheaper. It's a very
how much of that is involved because of AI or whatever? I mean, I'm sure you're using some sort of technology, right?
Yes. So we can skip to the next slide or the slide afterwards to really speak about how it works. Then maybe the slide afterwards.
Okay, let's go to the next one. This one. Okay.
Yes. So let's say you're a rideshare driver. Not let's say you are a rideshare driver. You go to the Voom insurance portal and you try to get a quote. We ask you many questions like any other insurance companies. But one of the questions that we ask you is, how much do you intend to drive for your personal use? Okay. And your policy is, highly rated on how much you're driving for your personal use. If you are, driving a lot, but actually the personal use is very limited, then the Voom policy is going to be much cheaper.
Okay.
Now, we do audit that. The way that we do it is that we ask you once in a while to take a picture of your odometer. This way we know like the overall mileage of your car. But then, a lot of these miles are actually covered by Uber and Lyft. So what we do is to sync with your Uber and Lyft account, and we know the trip data from your actual account. This way, we're able to deduct the miles that you're doing on these platforms in order to get you this better rate.
Okay. So I'm saving like tons of questions, so we're gonna stick around for a while. So so once we do this, right? I mean, obviously we all gonna talk about how many states they're in. I want to ask you this question because I honestly think rideshare drivers who drive without period 1 or that $2,500 gap coverage that you offer are risking so much without knowing what they're risking, right? A lot of drivers who are present here and are going to watch this later, they have no clue that Uber's and Lyft's P1 coverage is garbage. It doesn't even exist, honestly. And so with that in mind, right, how many, how old is Voom, by the way? How long have you guys been around?
The company has been around for around 7 years already.
Okay.
This product is relatively newer.
Okay. And so, I always tell drivers who ask me, should I get period 1 coverage? Should I get like a rideshare endorsement through my company, existing insurance company, or not? And we know what has happened to insurance rates in this country, in many states, specifically in California, but also in Florida and a lot of different states. They have gone up 40, 50, 60, 70% over the last 2-3 years. And obviously the drivers are not making the same amount of money they were making 5-6 years ago, right? I mean, the rates have been cut. So we have to treat this as a business, right? And what better way than, deal with a company like yours to save some money, because it goes to our profit bottom line. But, I have to ask you this. I mean, I have talked to a couple other companies similar to yours, but I want you to explain what the differences are. There was a company called Buckle, right? They came and disappeared. There was another company called Stable Insurance, which were pretty much in the same, genre or same business as you guys are in at the moment. what makes you different and what will make you survive?
Wonderful. Okay, so I think that you asked two questions that are both very relevant and connected to each other. First one is like also the periods of what we cover, what the platform covers, what what's period one that I would like to address, and then I think it's like very connected to what other companies like Buckle and Stable that I think very highly of offered, and we can address these two questions together. So. I think that you've broken it down very well from again education standpoint. Period 0 is your personal errands. Period 1 is with the app open but no real activity. Period 2 on the way to a passenger, and period 3 with the passenger in your car. Uber and Lyft and other rideshare companies they cover like completely period 2 and 3 with the gap of this deductible. So we do not cover that. All we only cover the deductible. Okay, and that's also the reason that we're able to make it so cheap, because we don't cover that at all. Then period 1, as you said, like Uber and Lyft, they provide like a very, very minimal coverage, like only the mandatory limits by the state, but they do not cover comprehensive collision at all. If you have like higher limits, they do not cover it at all. So then again, Voom comes in. And if you have a gap, if your liability is higher, we'll cover this gap. If you have comprehensive and collision, Voom will cover that. So that's like very similar to like what's it called, like period 1, like or Rightshare endorsement. That's also what the Rightshare endorsement is offering. Okay. And then period 0 is anything else that yes, we also offer that, because we want to create like a comprehensive solution, basically a solution that will replace your personal auto policy, or the personal auto policy plus the Rightshare endorsement. So instead of, to answer your question, should I have Rightshare endorsement? The answer is yes, in order to get better protection. But actually, better than that, instead of that, just go to try Voom out. Maybe you'll get the same thing for cheaper. So that's with regards to the different periods and what we offer and what are the gaps. I will say that there are very good resources on our website on what are the different periods, what are the different coverages offered by different platforms, both Rightshare and Delivery. So I would take a look at the Voom blog for that. And I think that also Harry, the Rideshare Guy, also wrote an interesting piece about it.
Yeah, in fact, people, Voom's link. Website link is in the show notes. It's right below us, right? So don't do it now. So watch us first, and then you can do it. Also, the Rideshare Guy article that was about Voom, is the link of that article is also in the show notes. So please go check it out. Educate yourself. Education is power. And you said you've been around for 7 years, but in the rideshare business, fairly new. As far as your expansion plans, right, and how many states you're in at the moment, I know California is a very difficult market to get in, but to be honest with you, I'm kind of surprised that you're already in 15 states, because when I was dealing with Buckle and Stable, I mean, they had all kinds of trouble getting into or expanding anyway. That was probably one of the reasons of their downfall. So what makes you so good that you can expand so fast?
Just lucky. Now, Sergio, let me answer the previous question that you had about like Buckle and Stable, so it won't appear like I'm dodging any question.
No, I was gonna get back to that, but I'm thankfully okay. All right.
So I personally talked with many people in both companies in order to learn about what they did, in order to make our own new mistakes rather than repeating the previous ones. Okay.
Yep.
And the offerings of some of them were a bit different. So let's say like Buckle, for example, they did cover period 2 and period 3. So they needed to offer like much broader coverage instead of Uber and Lyft, and then the policy was much more expensive, and just like the economics model didn't work, because then as a driver, I'm coming to a driver and saying, instead of paying $2,000, come and pay $1,500 with Voom. Their pitch was a bit different. Now, instead of paying $2,000, now pay $3,000, $4,000 to Buckle.
Yeah.
It's a bit different. We don't cover the things that you're already covered for, and this way we're able to be more cost effective and tailored. The other thing that I will say, so these companies are not here anymore. There is never guarantee that we'll be there, in 10 years or so. So we're doing our best to be there, but there is never a guarantee. What I can confirm that the insured, if you purchase a policy, then there is like a very strong financial backing that will cover your claims anyway. Okay. So even if the product we decide, in several years' time, hopefully won't happen, that we want to issue more policies to new customers, or we want to renew or whatever, the customers are protected. The insurance product is regulated by the Department of Insurance of each and every state, and they basically the reason that they regulate it is that they want to make sure that if a claim happen, there will be someone to pay, and that's us and the reinsurance backing that we have behind us. So that's with regards to that. The other
outside these 15, what is the future expansions plan look like?
Yeah, so our goal is to be countrywide. Okay, I think there are many drivers in other states that we don't operate yet in, that are basically on our waiting list already. When we talked about a year ago, we were only in 2 states, Arizona and Tennessee, and by now we're already in 15 states. As you can see here, Nevada, and Arizona, and Colorado, and Oklahoma, and Texas, and Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, South Carolina, Tennessee, Missouri, Indiana, Minnesota, and Maryland. And actually, we're launching in Ohio in a week time.
There was a question actually now that somebody asked, when are you going to be in Ohio? So there you go. He answered your question without me putting it up.
Wonderful. We are expanding rapidly. And I don't even know Greg, so it's not like a question that I invited. It's an organic one.
But no, but first of all, I'm glad you answered the question, because I was going to re-ask you the question in a different way. You learn from the mistakes, obviously, and you don't want to repeat those mistakes, right? So I want to do like a little bit of a summary. Let me see if I understand. Unfortunately, you're not in California yet, but I'm sure somebody's going to ask you, so I'll ask before they ask. Is there any, is California the last place to go, or is it very difficult to enter California, or what's going on there?
So what happens specifically in insurance or insurance expansion, we basically need to go through the Department of Insurance of each and every state in order to prove the insurance product, what's called the rates and the forms, to show that on the one hand the rates are high enough in order to cover our own expenses, and low enough in order to be fair, non-discriminatory, and so on and so forth. And each and every state have different rules for regulation, and each and every state have their own timeline for approval. Some of them it could take a week, for some it could take a year. Okay, not even within our hands. Obviously, California is a huge market, huge rideshare market. That's obvious. It's also one of the tougher states from regulation standpoint. We have plans to be there, obviously, but these things take time.
Yeah, I agree. And so I'm going to jump into the questions. Let me go to the top, and I highlighted some questions. While I'm doing that, if there is anything you want to add, because we'll have a few minutes remaining. But so here's question number 1. I have a rideshare endorsement on my insurance policy, but my insurance is $900 a month. What? I know she said she drives a 750i BMW, so I'm going like, okay. Will Voom help me save money? Well, there's one way to find out, Ash. I'm going to answer this for Tomer. Go to the website, put your data in, and then you'll find out if they're going to save you money or not. That's all I can say. You want to add something to that?
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, so first of all, your answer is, concise to the point. That's exactly what you should do. Okay, so if you're in one of the states where we already operate, just go to the Voom website, try to get a quote. You get it online. So if you qualify, you see your number. Okay, so that's very important to know. I will say that when we started the product, we had like only one potential driver profile in mind. They want is like very let's say like a full-time driver that uses their car only for rideshare, and this is why their personal miles are so low, so they can save money with Voom. However, over time, we actually saw some other profiles that are very relevant for us. One is just from a few weeks ago. One is a student that doesn't really use their car almost at all, and on the weekends they are doing rideshare. So again, they should benefit from a better rate because they are not using their car much.
All right. So for everyone who's watching now and watch later, the Voom link is in the show notes. Please just click the arrow down, and then the website link is there. And it's it's free. Go to the website and get a quote. It's free. I don't know how else I can beat free.
Yeah, getting a quote is free, and switching to Voom actually saves you money. So it's like even better than free.
Yeah.
It's better because it saves you money on something you must have. And another example, of a driver that we had recently is a bus driver. So they're driving a bus in their day-to-day, and then when they have time, they're doing Uber. So the car is sitting there. No one drives the car, and only when they're doing Uber and Lyft they're using it. So we have like many profiles that we didn't even think of, but over time, when you get some more volume, you see like more and more profiles.
Yeah, absolutely. So this gentleman says my rideshare endorsement was okay. Was is not a good thing. You should have rideshare endorsement if you're driving rideshare, sir. Not was, it should be is. I'm 900 every 6 months. You definitely, Mr. Ramon, you should definitely go check out the Voom website. Okay, there's one more. What about my entire family household members? Well, there you go. I don't know the answer to that. So
wonderful question. So if you have other household members, as long as you name them on the policy, so we know like who are the drivers, they can drive as well. If we need like one person in the family that was like a rideshare driver that we can verify and connect their account. But if you have like other family members, they can also be named on the policy and be covered.
There you go. There's your answer for that. I love doing these interviews because I learned so much besides everybody else learning. Does Voom cover delivery insurance? I know the answer, but I'm going to have you answer that question.
Yeah. So the answer is no, and it's like we also don't cover the rideshare insurance, right? Because the rideshare is covered by the rideshare, and the delivery is covered by the delivery. The thing with rideshare is that it's like very regulated. So if you have an accident during a rideshare activity, then you're covered by Uber, Lyft, and other rideshare companies.
Right.
If you're doing deliveries, it's actually more of a gray area. Many delivery companies, some delivery companies just cover you, and that's fine. Many delivery companies actually sometimes they say they cover you, but they don't really cover you. So that's this is like an education channel. This is something that if you're doing deliveries, I would really recommend to dig into what's covered and what's not. We focus on rideshare drivers because we know that when we don't cover them, someone else covers them in the right way.
I agree with that. By the way, I agree with Tomer on this one. If you're doing DoorDash, if you're doing GrubHub, insurance is very, very sketchy with these companies, even in period 3. So you need to, depending on your state, you may not have coverage at all, even during period 3 with food or deliveries in the car. And I don't know the answer to this either. Do they provide commercial insurance for black or SUV?
So
if it's for rideshare,
Uber Black is a bit different. That's like a much more expensive insurance that covers you for period 2 and 3. We do not play in this market. We basically replace the personal insurance that you have in a more tailored manner.
Okay. How do I know how much I drive? He actually answered that, but
but maybe it wasn't clear enough. So we audit it in the following way. We take like a picture of the odometer. This is how we know like the overall mileage of the car. then we connect to your Rideshare account in order to know the trips that you're doing there and deduct them from your overall mileage. This way we know how much you're driving for personal use. At the quote stage, in the very beginning, we ask you for an estimate for how much you drive personally. If you don't have an idea, then you can just call our call center and they will help you, guide you through, how to know and how to estimate correctly.
Yep. There you go. Another one is offer liability insurance.
Yes. So like the mandatory insurance that, autos have is, third party, bodily injury, property damage. So that's liability insurance. We also offer comprehensive, but yes, we offer liability insurance.
Yeah. Okay. And let me see if I have saved anything else. Unfortunately, you're not in New York or Florida. Somebody's saying, yep, well, Ohio is coming up. There was a question, when are you coming to North Carolina? Was the question.
In the works. It's in the works.
There you go. That's that question.
71. We're working for you.
Okay, so here's an interesting comment. Buckle was regulated also, but they just ignored their customers, period. Drivers went months without getting their car back from the mechanic, ended up losing cars. I don't know about that, but we don't want to, Buckle is gone. Voom is here. So let's just focus on that.
Important comment, but
I don't know. This gentleman says, Serge, don't be afraid to ask the tough questions. When was the last time I was afraid to tough questions, buddy? What are you talking about? Okay. Let's see. I think that should do it. I don't see. All right. So, we have a couple of minutes. So I'm going to give you the floor, Tomer. I want you to close and tell us why we cannot do without Voom insurance, number one. I know why, but I want the audience to hear it from you, from the CEO of the company. I am thrilled that you're here, by the way, because anytime we can be a benefit to drivers by not only saving them money, but educating them. I think it's we're doing our job. So the floor is yours.
First of all, thank you for having me, Sergio, again. I think, we're here talking about, the bottom line of drivers. Okay, so saving on insurance basically is a part of your overall, day-to-day as a freelance driver. You look at your, income from the rideshare companies and then all other expenses, gas, insurance, and other maintenance costs. Basically, we found way based on data that others don't have. We don't have like magic. We just try to look at data that other insurance companies are blind to,
Yep.
in order to, on the one hand, save you money, but on the other hand, not less importantly, to provide you with better coverage. Okay, so theoretically speaking, it's a no-brainer for any driver that is listening to the show to go to the Voom Insurance website and see if they can save with us. Not
Yep.
everybody can. Not everybody can. If you're using your car, for personal reasons, for other stuff, you won't necessarily save with us. But the ones that are very happy with the product. I'm seeing on Facebook many drivers writing to their fellow drivers how much they saved on Voom, and it really warms my heart. And I'm very glad that we are able to use technology and look at data that others are blind to, in order to do it. Go to the Voom Insurance website, try to get a quote, go to our resources in order to learn more. And also, they can just write me an email, and I will be very happy to answer, or will have my email in the show notes.
Lastly, I've been to the website. It's really, really great website, not just for getting a quote, but also for the blog side, for the education. A lot of the questions you guys are answering was there, but since the man is here, might as well ask the CEO of the company. And, Tomer, I appreciate it. Thank you for your time. I'm sure we'll be in touch and hope you guys learned. Again, if you guys have any questions, Voom link is in the show notes. The article we wrote about Voom with a lot more details is also in the show notes, the link of that. And you heard the man, send him an email. He'll answer. I'm sure you guys will send it to me, Sergio@therideshareguy.com. And then I'll forward it to Tomer, and then he'll get back to you guys.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Tomer. Much appreciated. Be safe out there.
Thank you.
All right, thanks for watching. That short little clip was from our live stream, Show Me the Money Club with Sergio and myself, Tuesdays, 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific. Make sure you subscribe, turn on all notifications so you get notified when we go live, as well as all of our awesome content. Make sure to check out this video right here, which will take you to the entire live stream, or check out this video right there. All right, drive smart, everyone.